Welcome back to the Citizens Defending Freedom show. Coming up today, we will share how Collin County CDF had 148 inappropriate books removed from Princeton ISD, and we'll show you a touching video of Harris County Citizens Defending Freedom prayer vigil on the University of Houston campus. All of that and more is ahead on today's show, but first, before we get started, head to our website, citizensdefendingfreedom.com, and hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on any of our content. Citizens Defending Freedom has been diligently auditing school libraries in Collin County for inappropriate books. Recently, CDF conducted an audit of Princeton ISD and found 148 inappropriate books in the school libraries. In response to these findings, Princeton ISD took immediate action to remove the identified books from circulation for review. Collin County CDF Education Division Lead Shannon Harris delivered a compelling presentation to the Princeton Independent School District last week. She points out that the inappropriate books are promoted by influential entities like the American Library Association and Scholastic. The ALA, once a trusted resource for libraries, has come under scrutiny for its advocacy of sexually explicit content and its opposition to faith-based events in libraries. Here with us today is Shannon Harris. Thank you for joining us. Can you please share the background of those 148 books being removed?
So we have been doing in Collin County book audits, library book audits. We use a set of books or a list of books. It's 408 books. We got the book list from a woman who was pretty heavily involved in the drafting and the writing of HB 900, which is the new law in Texas that passed last session that makes it illegal for schools to have sexually inappropriate books or sexually explicit books, is what the law states, in their libraries. And so once that law was passed, she has a list of actually over 1,000 books, but she whittled it down to 408 that she felt like for sure would fall under the definitions of HB 900 that were set forth in HB 900. And so those are the list. That's the list that we started with. And so we went, whatever districts have their online catalogs available for the public to look at, which most of them do, some of them don't, but most of them do. And so any district that had their online catalog available online, we audited. We had library audit workshops with volunteers. And so Princeton ISD was one of the school districts that allowed us to audit their books. And once we did, I mean, they have a pretty friendly school board in terms of, I knew that they didn't want sexually explicit material in their libraries. I was familiar with the president of the school board. And so I knew that she didn't want those books in her district. And so we sent the list of books that we found, which was the 148 that you're referring to. Of the 408 books, we found 148 in Princeton, and we sent her the list. And the problem we found, because they didn't remove them right away. And what we realized after communicating with them, which communication is key, right? We want to be communicating with our school boards. We don't want it to ever be contentious. We want to work with them. And so when we sent the list, I think they just didn't know what to do with it necessarily, because even though she somewhat knew me, and I guess she trusted me, she can't just go removing books based on what we say, right? They kind of want to see for themselves what we're talking about. And it's hard to read there's lots of them. So how do you read every single book front to cover, front to back? And so what we ended up doing, and a lot happened in between, but what we ended up doing is giving them the resource of booklooks.org. And we were actually on a phone call with them, with the superintendent and the president. And I said, they said, we just need to know, like, I trust you, but I got to verify, how do I know that these books are really bad? And I said, let me show you. So we logged on to booklooks.org, and he started looking up a couple of the books that were, that we had located in their libraries. And he was just floored. I mean, he was like, oh my gosh, first of all, he said, this is like a game changer. This resource is a game changer. He had no idea that he had a resource like that he could use. And it's not a resource that, I know a lot of people, I think it was just mentioned on 60 Minutes this weekend, booklooks.org, and they make it sound like some, right-wing crazy website, but it's literally just excerpts from books. They have a rating system that you can clearly see how and why they're rating the books the way they do. But if you don't agree with their rating, go look up the excerpts yourself and read them for yourself. They're all there on the website. And so he did. And I said, so looking at that excerpt, do you see any reason to have to read that book front to back? Like, because a lot of policy in these school districts is they have to read the whole book before they can make a decision. And I said, do you see any reason for needing to read that entire book? Or do you think you've read enough? And he goes, oh no, I've read enough. This book is coming off the shelf today. And it did. And so it was a matter of 2 weeks from that conversation before they had gone through the whole list of 148 books. And they removed all of them for review. So I am very, it is for review, but I'm very confident based on my conversations with them that they are not going to be returning those books to the shelves.
How did the opportunity to present to the school board develop?
So one of the school board members actually called or texted. I think she texted me and just said, hey, she had been hearing, I guess, rumblings about Scholastic and how bad Scholastic was in terms of, indoctrinating, books on children in their book fairs. And she was wanting to suggest a different vendor for their book fairs, but she wanted the entire board to be aware of what we were up against, what they were up against with Scholastic. And so she asked me, will you come and present? If I put it on the agenda, will you come and present what you know about Scholastic? And I said, I can do even better than that. I can, there's also the ALA, the American Library Association, who is, extremely culpable in the materials that are in our school libraries right now. They give, top 10 lists, and and then these book reviewers. I said, there's several reasons why these books are in our school libraries. It's not just one reason. And so I said, I can do a presentation on Scholastic. I can add some stuff about ALA and some of the book reviewers. And she said, that would be great. And so that's what I was invited. I mean, I was asked to, and I don't know, I guess, I know that this school board member did know who CDF was in the community. And she did know that we had some success in other districts with removing books. So I assume that's why she came to us and asked us if we would come and present and just educate the board on what we know. Because again, board members don't know everything. A lot of them are just parents that decided to step up and run, and they don't know every policy and every law and every, vendor and all the ups and downs or good things and bad things about each vendor unless you tell them. And so that's what we're here to do, right? CDF is here to equip and empower and educate and then let people make the decisions for themselves. And I think this community decided we don't want these books in our libraries.
Why do you think the board members did not remove the books before?
I think they just weren't aware that they could. Number one, I don't think they always knew that the books were there. And then once they found out they were there, I don't think they felt they had the authority to remove them. I mean, there's been so much talk about the removal of books and how it, violates the First Amendment rights of, the kids by not providing, porn in the school libraries. And the truth is, they've had the authority all along. PICO versus Board of Education, I think is what the case was. It was 1982. And it says clearly that the school boards have the authority to remove books if they are pervasively vulgar or if they are educationally unsuitable. And so they have had, it's like Dorothy in the shoe and, in the Wizard of Oz, she always had the power to go home. They've always had the power and the authority to remove these books. And I don't think that the school board members always know that. I don't think they are aware of PICO or even HB 900, which was just passed in Texas.
Thank you, Shannon. Cindy Darlin, president of the Princeton ISD School Board, said, "We are so grateful to have Citizens Defending Freedom conduct such thorough research, providing us with the understanding and tools necessary to prioritize our students' health and safety." Citizens Defending Freedom invites concerned citizens and residents of Collin County or any of our active counties to seek assistance in auditing their school libraries. If you have concerns about the books in your school library and would like CDF support, please visit our website and fill out the Contact Us form. Next, Harris County Citizens Defending Freedom came together with members of the community to pray for the removal of the 18-foot tall statue on display at the University of Houston. This statue, said to celebrate abortion and honor deceased U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, was brought to the University of Houston's main campus. The statue, named Witness, depicts the body of a naked woman with goat horns for hair and tentacles for arms, adorned with a lace collar around the neck. Take a look at this powerful video from the prayer vigil organized by our Harris County Citizens Defending Freedom team. Let's be bold in our commitment to continue inviting God back into our nation. What a beautiful video full of prayer and testimonies. Before we go, we want to leave you with our inspirational Bible verse of the week. This week's verse is 1 Chronicles 16:24. Declare his glory among the nations, his marvelous works among all the people. As you can see, Citizens Defending Freedom is doing important work. Help us today in our fight to protect children, help ensure election integrity, and encourage pastors to get engaged. Please visit citizensdefendingfreedom.com where you can learn more about our organization and generously contribute to our cause. Have a great day and make sure to like us on social media and tell your friends about the great things we're doing. God bless.